Hi guys, Murph here for another iRacing setup video. This time from one of my favourite short tracks in Myrtle Beach and in the SK Modified, one of my favourite cars. Safe to say I've been pounding a few laps around here this week. Now, before we get underway, we'll give you a quick disclaimer. Results may vary depending on a number of things, including time spent in the sim each week, how long you have been sim racing, gear you are using, and the overall talent or skill level you have. Understanding this is just a guide, and you will need to work on this yourself to get the most out of it. These setups are built for me, and because of this you may need to make adjustments yourself to get the car to be as fast as you want. You may need to tighten up, you may need to loosen it up. Everyone has their own driving style, and the setup may not be perfect when you first try it. These setups are built for the current season, and because of this, in future seasons, they may not be as good as they are currently. The iRacing tyre model is a constantly evolving thing, and after a year or two these setups might not quite be in the window that they are now, and again, in a season or two, if you are watching this, you may need to make a few adjustments to get it to work. I'm only human, and because of this, mistakes will happen. Sometimes I won't quite nail the setup, or there might just be faster setups out there. This is just part of the game, this is just part of racing, this is part of being a sim racer. Enough said, back to the video. Now we start off with qualifying. Here we are on a hot lap. You're wanting to drive it in as deep as possible and turn in early because the car will stick. Those fat tyres mean there's a ton of grip. The only thing to watch is on the exit, the car will want to slide. Same thing at turn 3 and 4. Now you'll see these dotted lines running on the racing line. You want to keep that left front wheel on it, and that's both at turn 3 and 4, but it's also at turn 1 and 2 as well. You can see this time was good enough for P3 in the grid. There's probably a little more time I might be able to extract with a bit of tuning with the quality setup, but I'm happy with it. I tend to not be the best qualifier anyway. I'm not a hot lap wonder. Qualifying in these cars, though, is highly important from the simple fact that it's just hard to pass on these short tracks in these cars with lots of grip, unless you've got a serious setup advantage or a serious tyre advantage. It can be quite difficult to get past without making contact, and I find with the modifiers, both the SKs and the Tour, contact's something you try to avoid because A, the cars get damaged, and B, everyone just likes to race clean in these. There doesn't tend to be as much push and shove, I find. But anyway, hopefully that helps with the qualifying. Now we move on to the race. Big thing I enjoy about these cars, unlike a lot of the oval cars, pretty much all of them, is that tyre management isn't nearly as much of a factor as your pure race pace. A lot of the NASCARs in particular, even IndyCar, the late models, you kind of have to still look after your stuff. These things, especially on these flatter tracks, it's just about going balls to the wall, going 100%. That being said, you've got to be careful not to slide the car, like the 8 car did just then. But you've got to be careful not to slide the car on exit and burn up the rears, or drive it in too deep and burn up the fronts. As long as you do that, tyre wear will not be a factor. As for the race itself, it's kind of a difficult place to pass. Most of the time I find the best way isn't to try and dive it in there, it's just to kind of hold the wheel tight coming off the corner and try and get the run on exit, or diamonding the corner by staying high and cutting down low on exit and late apexing. Even then, it's generally you're gonna have to have a tyre or setup advantage to get the job done. In this case, the 2 car was quite nice to me on turn-in, although he did fight me for a number of laps. In the end though, the setup, I have been finding it to be one of the fastest, if not the fastest, in every race I do, especially at the end of a run. I just hurt myself with poor qualifying, and I tend to have to fight my way through. Like I did here, I probably left a tenth or two on the table in qualifying itself, which put me on the fourth row, which got me in trouble with that third place spinning. It meant I had to fight a lot harder than I needed to. Anyway, we'll move on to the setup. Now, compared to qualifying, realistically, there's only two changes I made for the race setup. I actually loosened the car up. I added 1 round of right rear spring to it just to help the car rotate. Did make it loose on the race start, so you had to manage that for the first lap or two, but for the most part it was good. And of course, the only other adjustment was I went from minimum fuel to a few litres. Bear in mind, obviously, I'm from basically a part of the world that uses metric instead of imperial. So if you're struggling to figure out what each setting is, hit the metric or button on the right hand side there, and you can change it to imperial so you know what I'm on about. Anyway, I hope you guys find that useful and helpful. Let me know in the comments how your races go. If the setup gets you a good result, gets you a bad result, I like to hear about it. Yeah, so hit me up in the comments. Definitely hit the old like and subscribe button if you don't like it. I'm not afraid of a good unlike, a good dislike. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you for the next one. Ciao.